Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 2 In-Depth. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing the Crossbow, which is a special weapon, or special secondary, or secondary. It's definitely an offbeat weapon. It's kind of a fun weapon. It's not as strong as it was in Black Ops 1. It's been nerfed, or as I would say, rebalanced for this game, but a lot of you have questions about it, so today we're going to be talking about the impact damage, the blast radius, rate of fire, and a lot of weird little quirks and myths and rumors about the Crossbow are going to be dispelled today. But let's start off with the simple things first. Let's talk about the impact damage. When you shoot somebody and the arrow hits them and sticks into their body, it does 40 damage as soon as the arrow hits. That's 40 impact damage for a direct impact. That's not the explosive damage. What this means is in hardcore mode, one impact with the crossbow is always going to kill, so this is an insta-gib weapon, or it could take 3 impacts to kill in core, or more likely somebody's barely survived a grenade and then you shoot them once with the crossbow and that will kill them in one hit. 40 damage per impact, nothing special about that. That does mean the tri-bolt will kill in one hit in core mode if you impact all 3 in their body at once. So a close range shot with the tri-bolt is an insta-gib. That can be a bad thing because the body will then explode. You need to avoid the body instead of running over it to get scavenger packets or ammunition. The blast radius is a little bit more complicated. If you think of this kind of like it were StarCraft or one of those spellcasting games, it has a linear sloping down with the highest amount of damage in the very center and the least amount of damage on the very edge of the blast radius. And the damage here is 150 to 25, meaning it deals 150 damage in the center and 25 damage at the very edge of the blast radius. That means if somebody's at the edge of the blast radius, it could take up to 4 crossbow rounds to kill, or an entire magazine plus 1. These numbers do seem very arbitrary, so it may be more useful to describe it like this. It's about half that of a fragmentation grenade. A frag grenade is going to deal about 250 damage if I'm not mistaken, and it drops down to about 75, 65 at the edge of the blast radius. So it's very close to half that of a frag grenade. And the blast radius, the distance on it, is also very small in this game. It's been nerfed from Black Ops 1. I believe they were concerned about having an overpowered crossbow, or we don't need another secondary launcher on top of the RPG. The blast radius is approximately 2.7 meters, or about 40% of that of a fragmentation grenade. It's a little bit less than half of a frag grenade on the blast radius, so that means that the lethal blast radius is very, very small. As a matter of fact, what we're going to do is skip over to a little bit of live commentary here, and I'm going to show you the exact lethal blast radius. I'm just playing around on Hijacked with MS College Boy and J-Hub trying to shoot according to these lines. That's very close, but he's going to survive. I'm going to give him a few seconds to get his health back, reload the crossbow. We're going to move over approximately 1 line, move up again, and shoot. And you're going to see that he's going to survive again, even though the crossbow is practically touching him, moving over just slightly more. This one's going to kill him. This is the lethal blast radius of the crossbow. They have to be very, very close to the crossbow, practically standing on top of it for you to get a crossbow kill from the actual explosive damage. And because it takes a few seconds to detonate, and because most players do have the common sense to get out of the way, it's not very likely that you're going to get a kill just from the explosive damage. However, one of the things that you definitely will get kills from is the actual direct impact plus explosive damage. If you stick somebody in their body and then it explodes, it is always going to kill them. It's going to kill them if they have flak jacket. It's going to kill them if they're next to a trophy system. It's going to kill them if they glitch their body into the wall or underwater. I don't know of a way to survive a direct impact with the crossbow. If you shoot them directly, they will die. But speaking of flak jacket, if a person is wearing flak jacket and you don't hit them directly, if you're just dealing the explosive damage, it's going to be dealing virtually no damage to them. Again, unless they're sitting directly on top of the grenade, they only need to move a few inches out of the way to survive, and because the flak jacket reduces the damage even less, it's not even going to be hurting them very much. This is a very, very weak weapon against flak jacket users. I'd also like to remind you that on March 16th, I'm going to be having a fan meetup in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's in Arlington, which is a little south of Dallas and a little east of Fort Worth, but it's in the Metroplex. There's an RSVP link in the description with more information if you'd like to check it out. The rate of fire of the crossbow is 49 RPM. As a matter of fact, the whole time I've been doing in-depth, I have not seen a weapon that shoots slower than this. Some of the sniper rifles shoot about 50-51 RPM. It's right about on par with the DSR-50 as far as rate of fire, which is extremely slow. The crossbow is not a fast-firing weapon, so please make sure to make your shots count because the next one is going to be a long time coming. One of the questions that I get asked most often about the crossbow is this a stealth weapon or not? Do you appear on the radar when you're firing? So we put it to the test here again on hijacked. Very simple. I stand next to my teammate, or my enemies, because it's free-for-all. They fire, and let's see if they show up on the radar. As you can see, zooming in on the radar, they definitely show up when firing. The crossbow is not a stealth weapon. Every single time you shoot the crossbow and it makes that little thud noise is going to put you on the radar. There's no way to silence this. Ghost does not counter this. You're always going to be on the radar when firing the crossbow. I really don't think that's a good idea. I think this should be more of a stealth weapon. I think you should be off the radar if you're handicapping yourself enough with the crossbow, but that's not how the developers made it. Please bear in mind that when you shoot the crossbow, you're going to show up as a dot and everybody's going to know where you are. There is absolutely no movement penalty for this weapon. You run at 100% of normal speed. This is the same as the submachine guns and pistols in this game. However, when you aim down sights, you're only going to be moving at 40% speed, which is more in line with the assault rifles. So you're going to be able to run and hip fire very, very quickly. However, when you're aiming down sights, your movement speed is going to be highly restricted. So do keep in mind that when you aim down sights, you need to make it count, and you're not going to be able to sidestep back and forth between corners. There's no perk or attachment that makes this work any better. Another neat little question I had was, what does the trophy system do to the crossbow? And what I found is that if you shoot the crossbow over the trophy system will knock it out of the air, but it's a fast moving projectile, so it never actually hits it until you're on the other side. However, once it hits a wall, or hits the ground, or hits a person or something, it's never ever actually going to blow it up. So it's very easy to take down a trophy system just by shooting a crossbow anywhere near it. See, it doesn't hit the ground, doesn't shoot the ground there. If I shoot near the trophy system, boom, dead trophy system. Very easy to take out trophies with crossbows, but if you shoot your crossbow over a trophy system, that'll knock it out of the air. As you may have suspected, the crossbow reload time is very slow. It takes 2.85 seconds to go over the entire reload animation, or 1.5 seconds to do the reload cancel. Because of the huge time saving, I would almost always recommend reload canceling with the crossbow. It'll make you reload faster, but overall it is a slow reloading weapon. Be sure that you're behind cover or somewhere relatively safe before you start reloading. The hip fire is a little bit unique. It's somewhere in between that of the pistols and the submachine guns, meaning that it's pretty good. It's a little bit wider than both of them when you're running, but it can get quite small if you're prone. But it's most similar to pistols. It's not a bad weapon for hip firing. I do hip fire it on occasion, or like kind of quick fire it, like a half aim down sights and fire it. That'll work fine. That's not a bad tactic. When it comes to how I like to use it, if I'm using this as a primary weapon, or even oftentimes when I'm using it as a very tactical secondary weapon on a shotgun class or something, I have the best luck with dual band or variable zoom. I like the dual band scope because it lights people up, but on occasion I'm playing with a lot of cold-blooded users, and they don't show up on the dual band, or the map is too small for the dual band, and the variable zoom will then become preferable. But either one of these is really my ideal attachment for the weapon, because believe it or not, the crossbow is actually more of a long-range weapon than it is a close-range weapon. In close quarters combat, typically I have tons and tons of clips where I would shoot somebody and then they would just unload into me waiting for the bolt to go off, and it never really worked very well. However, at long range I was able to take down snipers and use this tactically. If these attachments don't float your boat, if you want this as a sort of secondary launcher / punishment weapon, the tri-bolt is incredibly fun. With the tri-bolt, you're shooting 3 crossbow bolts at once. You're very likely to get explosive kills with this. You're very likely to deal damage with this. This is a great attachment. The only downside is that you're going to run out of ammo very, very fast because you only get 2 complete shots with this. You need to pair with scavenger or be prepared to pick up other weapons or have a primary weapon. Tri-bolt is fun, but you burn through ammo very quickly. My recommendation on how to use the crossbow is that you use it like a tactical weapon. You use this actually as a secondary instead of a primary, because you can't take people in close quarters combat with the crossbow. They're just going to mow you down while you're waiting for all your bolts to blow up or wait for the next shot. Put a long range scope on it, pop people at a distance. You can pair this with a shotgun class and you can get a sniper on your back with the crossbow technically without having to worry about anything else. You can also use this to pound objectives in a way. You can just kind of spam into the objective and blow people up. It's not as effective as something like the RPG or small, but then again, it's also not seen as cheap like the RPG and small. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you learned something neat about the crossbow, and I do hope to see a few crossbow users out there when I go play online. In the previous episode, I covered fast hands. You can click the box on the left to load that up. In the next episode, I'm going to be covering the ballistic knife. I'm just kind of a glutton for punishment doing the special weapons all at once. And as always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.